Creating an intelligent agent in Brightspace Momentum. First, go to Edit Course, down to Communication, and click on Intelligent Agents. Next, click on New Intelligent Agent. We will set up an intelligent agent that checks to see when a student has last logged in. If they have not logged in 5 days, then the intelligent agent will take action. So I'm going to call this intelligent agent Last Login. In the description, and this will only be visible to you, I'm going to put a brief description of what this intelligent agent will do. Okay, so I have my description, and again, that's only viewable to the instructor, to me. By default, the agent is enabled. If for some reason you don't want to enable the agent at first, then you can certainly uncheck that. But I would highly recommend that you have your intelligent agents in place and active before your course begins. So let's take a look at the criteria that the intelligent agent will be checking for. Well, first off, we need to know, or we need to let Momentum know who we want to be notified when the following criteria that we're getting ready to set up are met. So it would be tempting to say all users visible in the class list, because that sounds like it would just be your class roster, but it's not. It's your class roster, it's you, it's any tutors or librarians you may have embedded in your course. So we want to limit who we send it to. So I'm going to choose users with specific roles. So I'm going to say only the banner students. Now, a couple of choices here, login activity or course activity. Well, I want to know in this particular instance when the last time the student has logged in. So I'm going to choose login activity. So I'm going to ask it to take action when the following login activity is satisfied. So the user has not logged in during the last 5 days, or the user has logged in during the last 5 days. So obviously I'm going to choose the first one, and I'm going to put my number 5 in there. I'm going to skip over course activity, but just know that you can set an intelligent agent to check and see if the student has been in the course and been active, as opposed to simply logging in. So I'm going to go on down to actions. What do I want to happen when the intelligent agent determines that the student has not logged in 5 days? Well, I want it to send them an email. How often do I want that to happen? Well, I want that action to be taken only the first time that the criteria is met? No. I'm going to go ahead and choose take action every time the agent evaluates it and those criteria are met. So every time the student has been absent for 5 days or more, I want this to happen. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and tell it I want it to send an email. And you can see that the emails are coming from me, and the reply to address is going to be my Momentum email address. And we'll look in just a moment at how to set this criteria. This is not the criteria that's set by default. We will have to make an adjustment to make this happen. Okay, so now I want this message to go to, who do I want it to go to? I want it to go to the person who met the criteria, right? To that student's name. So underneath the copy and the blind copy, I see what special email addresses can I use. So I'm going to click on that. I like to have it open because it's like my little copy and paste cheat sheet. The name that I want is this name, the initiating user. So I'm going to copy that. I don't want the auditor. The initiating user is just a fancy way of Momentum saying your student. Okay, so I'm going to close that. And I copied that to my clipboard, so I'm going to go ahead and use my Command V and paste it. So I'm sending it to the initiating user, aka my student. Copy and blind copy, I'm going to leave that blank. I'm not going to send a copy to myself because I'm going to show you in a moment where you can check and see which students have been alerted by the intelligent agent. So I'm going to go on down to the subject, and I'm going to be pretty specific. So the course name, and telling them that we're missing them in INFS 1010, so the class I'm teaching. So I'm going to go on down and put in the body of my message. So I'm going to put that string in again, except this time I'm going to change it just to first name. So it's just going to pull the student's first name. Okay, so in the body of the text, I make it very clear to the student the action that I want them to take, the situation that's happened, and that I want them to contact me in the next 2 days. So really plain and simple directions for them. And then I end it. I try to keep it friendly. I don't want to make them feel incredibly bad. I don't know what's happened, so I'm not sure why they're not in class. So I want to be very approachable to them and more of in a problem-solving capacity than a situation where they feel like I'm reprimanding them. So I'm going to scroll on down to scheduling. How often do I want this intelligent agent to check my momentum class for this particular criteria? So I'm going to tell it to use a schedule, because if I don't use a schedule, then I have to run this intelligent agent manually. So when I think about it, but I don't want to do that. I want this to happen automatically. I want to set it at the beginning of the semester and have it work for me. So I'm making momentum work for me. So I'm going ahead and check the checkbox next to use schedule and update schedule. And you can choose daily, weekly, monthly, etc. I'm going to choose daily because it's an online class, totally online class, so I have students coming and going at will. So I'm going to run it daily. And I'm going to repeat it every day, so every 1 day. And I'm going to start it when my classes start. And then I'm going to end it when classes end, because if I don't, Momentum will run this and email these students until, well, indefinitely, because that's what I told it to do. Okay, so here we have daily. It repeats every day, starting on January 19th, ending on May 7th. So I'm going to go ahead and update it. And then I can see down here that I have set that it's accepted it, and I'm going to save and close. Now, what happens when that criteria runs, right? Well, it's going to run every day, but what if I want to run it on demand, right? What if I want that to happen? So we can see here, absent for 5 days has already happened. Absent from the course. You know, I told you there was a difference between absent from the course or hasn't logged in. So this is my intelligent agent where they have been absent from the course and had no course activity. And that ran earlier, and I can see there are 5 users who have not accessed and worked in the course. And if I click on it, it'll show me who has not taken action in the course in the last 5 days. So I'm going to go back, and now I want to run that last login. If I want to run it manually, I click, and then I click Run Now, and I run it. And this is just a disclaimer that it's going to run it. It may take a few minutes, just depends on how heavy of a load Momentum is experiencing right now. So I'm going to go ahead and click Done. So I'll check back in a few minutes to see how many people have not logged in the last few days. So now I'm going to go up to settings. Remember earlier I said you have to change a couple of settings to enable the intelligent agent to make the email from you and returnable to you. So in settings, when you initially log in, the use system defaults will be chosen. Well, that's going to send everything to the CTAT mailbox, and that's not going to do CTAT any good. That's not going to do you any good. You need to be the one that receives these emails. So we're going to check set custom values for the course. And then I put my name in there. You could put INFS 1010, so your class name. You can put your name. That's very customizable to your preference. But then in the reply to address, it's going to have to be your Momentum email address. So you can get that by going to any of your email that the students have sent you. You can find this email address, but I think all of them basically follow the same format in that it's your username and then at elearn.runstate.edu. Now, if you notice on here, the email address has to be enclosed in the little brackets, the little greater than, less than brackets. So the open bracket at the beginning, let me go back. I know it's super hard to see. Let me scroll in a little bit. So the opening bracket at the beginning, and then of course the closing bracket at the end. So when we make these changes and save them, then that is how we specify that the email should be from us, our name, and returned to us. So just while we were looking at those settings, the results of my last login have come up, and not surprisingly, there are 5 users, the same 5 I'm sure, that have been absent for 5 days. So but here we see that the action has taken, an email has been sent. You can click on the email to see what it said. So from us to Lincoln, the date it was sent and what was sent. So we'll go ahead and close that. And just out of curiosity, let's pop over to Lincoln and we will impersonate him and be super nosy and go look in his email. So now it's addressed to Lincoln. He got my message. It's personalized to him. My instructor presence is strong with him because I've noticed he's not been there. I've sent him a message. So Intelligent Agents, a great way to keep in touch with your students. Be sure to check out more video tutorials on the CTAT website by visiting ctat.runstate.edu.